Hello, students. Welcome to Easy Elimu Learning Simplified. I am your teacher, Mr. Stanley Ombogo. So, dear students, this is another session, another wonderful session of the Neighborhood Watch analysis. And remember, the Neighborhood Watch is written by Remy Gambije. So, it is one of the short stories that we have in the anthology Silent Song and Other Stories. And it is the 11th story in the list of stories that we have. So, in this session, dear students, I'd like us to look at some of the character portrayals and character roles of the characters we have in the Neighborhood Watch. And to start us off, I'd like us to first look at the character lists. That is by looking at the characters we expect to find. That is before proceeding to their character traits. So we have got the first character, that is uh, Elias. I don't know whether it is Elias or Elias. So he is a streetwise leader of the Neighborhood Watch. So he has experience from his days in the struggle. He is the one that is who teaches the others how to survive on the streets. Then we also have Lazarus. So Lazarus is a member of the Neighborhood Watch who is known for his contained violence. So he is a loyal follower of Elias and helps the group navigate the streets. So there is also another character by the name Martin. So Martin is a new member of the Neighborhood Watch who is still learning how to survive on the streets. So he is the youngest of the group and is often considered naive. There is also Silas. So Silas is a member of the Neighborhood Watch who is restless and often goes off on his own. So he is known for his impulsiveness and lack of discipline. So we also have a female member in the Neighborhood Watch by the name Omagano. So Omagano is a female member, just like I've said, of the Neighborhood Watch, who is reserved and shy. So she is often seen as the group's nurturer and is protective of the others. Then there is also a character by the name Amos. So Amos is a former member of the Neighborhood Watch who is killed in a fight over pride. So is remembered by the others as a wild, impulsive man who struggled with alcohol and anger. So lastly, we have Mrs. Bezudenhout. I don't know if that is the correct pronunciation, but it is Mrs. Bezudenhout. So she is an old woman who lives in Eros and is known for her generosity towards the Neighborhood Watch. So she often provides them with food, clothes, and other necessities. So let us proceed to the character traits of the characters we've just mentioned. That is starting with Elias. So the first character trait of Elias that we are going to look at is that he is street savvy. So he knows the street very well. So we are told that Elias has a wealth of knowledge and experience when it comes to surviving on the streets. So he has a deep understanding of how the street works and how to navigate it. So he is able to guide his group, that is the Neighborhood Watch, through the different neighborhoods and help them find food and shelter. So uh, he is also resilient. So we are told that Elias has been through a lot of difficult experiences on the streets, including being beaten by the Afrikaners during the insurgency years. But he has managed to persevere and continue surviving in the streets. So Elias is also pragmatic. That is, he has a realistic and practical perspective on life on the streets. He understands that they need to survive on a day-to-day basis and that they cannot rely on things getting better in the future. So he tells Martin that maybe it's tomorrow, buddy. Then Lazarus says, and there is only today. So he also got have got some, he's also a leader or a visionary. That is when it comes to the streets. So he takes on the role of leader for the neighborhood watch, making decisions for the group and guiding them through different situations. So he is respected by the other members and they look to him for guidance. So another thing is that he is empathetic. So we are told that Elias has a deep understanding of the struggles of other members of the neighborhood watch, and he is able to relate to their experiences. So he is also willing to help and support them, as demonstrated when he comforts Omagano after they found a dead baby in the trash. So another thing about Elias is that he is also loyal. So he cares deeply about the other members of the neighborhood watch and is willing to go to great lengths and great heights to protect them. So let's look at another character, that is Lazarus. So some of the character traits of Lazarus, dear students, is that number one, he is survival oriented. So we are told that he is constantly thinking about how to survive on the streets and make ends meet. So he and Elias methodically scour bins in their old territories to find food and shelter. So Lazarus is also experienced. So we are told that he has been living on the streets for a long time and has a lot of knowledge and experience about how to survive in the streets. So he passes on this knowledge to the younger members of the neighborhood watch so that they can also find a way of, surviving in the streets. So Lazarus is also pragmatic. So we are told that he is practical and realistic about the challenges of living on the streets. So he knows that pride is poor food and that sometimes people need to do things they don't want to do in order to survive. So another thing is that he is resourceful. So we are told that Lazarus is able to find ways to make use of the things they find in the bins. So he and Elias start a fire using newspapers they find in the bin. So another thing about Lazarus is that he is resilient. So he is able to keep going despite the hardships of living on the streets. He is also able to find humor in difficult situations, like when Elias runs screaming after finding a dead baby in a bin. So Lazarus is also protective, dear students. He is protective of the members of the neighborhood watch and is willing to fight to protect them. So he tells Silas not to go out on his own in case mischief finds him and no one comes to look for him. So let's look at the next character, who is Martin. So remember, Martin is the youngest member in the crew, in the neighborhood crew. So Martin is naive. So he is new to the streets and is not familiar with the ways of survival on the streets. So he is easily shocked by the harsh realities of street life, as seen when he is horrified by the story of the dead baby found in the bin. So another thing is that he is optimistic. We can talk about hopeful. So Martin expresses hope that things could get better for people living on the streets. So he is seen suggesting that some people might be able to find jobs, which is met with skepticism by Elias and Lazarus. So Martin is also easily influenced. That is, he is often seen following Silas' lead even when it is not safe to do so. So he is also seen looking up to Elias and Lazarus as leaders and is willing to accept their advice and guidance. So another thing we can say about him is that he is trusting. So he's seen trusting the generosity of Mrs. Bezudenhout, despite the fact that Elias and Lazarus do not share his trust. Then we can also talk about him being inexperienced. That is, he is also seen as inexperienced on the streets. That is a scene when he's not familiar with the ways of survival and is easily shocked by the harsh realities of life. So on to the next character, uh, who is Silas. So Silas has the following character traits. So he is inexperienced. So we are told that he is a new member of the neighborhood watch and is not as experienced in street life as the other members. So he is shown to be unfamiliar with the ways of surviving on the streets and is often surprised by the harsh realities of life. So, apart from that, he is also curious and ambitious. So, he is eager to explore the different neighborhoods and is not content to stay in one place. So, he also wants to find a job as opposed to relying on scavenging for survival. So, we are also told that Silas is a dreamer. So, he is optimistic and hopeful about the possibility of things getting better for the group and believes that they can find a way to improve that is their situation. So he is also a risk taker. So we are told that he often leaves the safety of the headquarters and wanders off on his own, despite the warnings of the other members of the neighborhood watch crew. So we also told that he is a follower. That is, he often goes along with the group's decision and does not speak up for himself or question the group's actions. So he only follows what has been said by the other members of the neighborhood watch, that is group or community. Now, another thing, another character that we have here, dear students, is Omagano, who is the only female in the crew. So some of the character traits of Omagano is that she is vulnerable and fearful. So this is a scene when she wraps her arms underneath her breasts and rocks herself a little after the group talks about finding a dead baby in the trash. So that shows that she is fearful. Then Omagano is also quiet and reserved. So we are told that Omagano in most cases does not contribute. So as her character is not explored again in depth throughout the story. So he is just mentioned, but her character is not explored in depth. There are no detailed information about her. So there is also Amos. So we are told that Amos is prideful. So Amos is described as having a lot of pride and not being able to hold his tongue. So he calls someone an ugly word and refuses to apologize for the slight, leading to his eventual death. That is after he is severely stabbed to death. So Amos is also aggressive. So he is again described as goading people on with his words and having a tendency to also curse people. So apart from that, we are also told that he is a heavy drinker or a binge drinker. So it is mentioned that one of the things Amos could not hold was his drink, leading to his death. So another thing is hot-tempered or short-tempered. We are told that the story states. So the story states that Amos died due to his pride and his inability to control his temper. Let's look at Mrs. Bezudenhout, who is an older woman from, is it from Avi? We are going to confirm that. So some of her character traits is that she is generous. So we are told that Mrs. Bezudenhout is described as being very generous towards the neighborhood watch. So often giving them food, clothes, and other essentials. So we also told that she also gives them things like a pair of scissors and a mirror to help them maintain their appearance. So she is also a kind woman. We are told that she is described as being kind towards the neighborhood watch, always asking how they are and if they need anything else. So she is also thoughtful. So we are told again in the story that Mrs. Hart takes the time to sort through her recycling and even washes it before uh, giving it to the neighborhood watch. So another thing about her is that she's frugal. She's described as being frugal, always making use of her resources and not wasting anything. Uh, Another trait that is also seen in her is that she is caring. So we are told that she cares about the well-being of the neighborhood watch and wants to help them in any way she can. So that is according to the story. Another thing is that she is selfless. Someone who is selfless is someone who cares for others. They do not only care about themselves, but they also care for the well-being of others. So she is always giving to the neighborhood watch without expecting anything in return. So, dear student, that marks the end of the session, and thanks for watching. Keep it easy, Elimu. Until next time, bye.